Tomorrow, a group of parents and their children from Louisiana will be boarding a bus headed to Washington, D.C. The group consists of friends and strangers alike, but the thing that they all have in common is that either they themselves or their children have significant medical needs. They all receive Medicaid, and they're making the trip to protest against the recently proposed cuts. My mother and I are two of those people. Now, it won't be an easy task for any of us. Most of these people have medical conditions that require a lot of equipment, and we'll be away from home for 4 or 5 days, and believe it or not, that's an extreme health risk. Let me explain the importance of Medicaid for my family specifically. Because of Medicaid, we can stay afloat. It covers some of the exorbitant medical costs that are courtesy of my mitochondrial disease. You see, mito is where most of the powerhouses of my cells, my mitochondria, are dysfunctional. In simple terms, my body and I are running about half the energy that you and your body are running on. It's not an easy task by any stretch. Our state, Louisiana, provides 4 waivers. I received one, the New Opportunities Waiver, aka the NOW waiver. The waivers do not consider the individual's or family's income, but rather it's based on medical need. If these waivers were taken away, middle-income families like mine would be in an impossible situation because we don't qualify for any other governmental assistance, but our income isn't enough to cover the costs of our medical care. My waiver consists of 2 components. It provides Medicaid coverage and hours with a support worker. This support worker is trained specifically to my medical needs and allows my mom to work part-time. It's vital to my health care. I'm not new to the role of advocate. I've met and talked to state senators and representatives. I've testified in front of the House and Ways and Means Committee. This time, though, it's different. I mean, this go around, I'm not advocating at the state's capital, but the country's. Plus, I don't really know what to expect, but I'll have a 17 or 18-hour car ride to prepare for it. Another difference is that I'll be documenting my experience. I mean, I've never done that before while advocating, but this way you'll get to see the process as we go through it. So, here's the plan. Saturday the 8th, we take the bus to D.C. Sunday is dedicated to resting. Monday is the day we advocate. And Tuesday through Wednesday, we have the bus ride back home. And that's about it. Wish us luck. Until tomorrow. Bye. Alright, it is Monday morning, the big day, and I have a couple of minutes on my hands, so I'm going to update you on everything that has happened. So, Saturday, crazy day. We had a couple emergencies over the course of the whole bus ride. One trach was changed on the bus, 2 G-tubes were changed on the bus. It's a bit wild. Most of the issues are kind of resolved. There was a fever, don't really know if they're better now or not, but everyone's kind of fine. Let's go with kind of fine. Secondly, CNN interviewed 2 people on the bus, personally, with the big fancy cameras and stuff like that, and I was one of them, and it's super exciting. It was kind of funny to see the whole setup, because, they have 2 fancy cameras and, a light dude and the whole bit, and we're crammed on this tiny little aisle and these 2 tiny little seats, and the interview lady is, this close to me. But overall, it was a really, really good experience. For dinner Saturday night at the Varsity, ADAPT met us there to show their support, and according to their website, ADAPT is a national grassroots community that organizes disability rights activists to engage in nonviolent direct action, including civil disobedience, to assure that civil and human rights of people with disabilities to live in freedom. So, that was really, really neat and very, very lovely of them. And I suppose that's about it. I shall see you soon. Bye. How do you feel about going to advocate at the Capitol?
Well, this is the culmination of everything we've been looking forward to. This is what we've come here to do. So I'm anticipating positive outcomes, and I'm anticipating a positive day.
Medicaid cuts have got to go!
we're at the RNC and we're asking to speak to the head of the RNC so she can hear our concerns. They've locked us out of the building and won't let us in. We're here with activists and advocates from all over the country, and they're refusing to come out, let us in, or any of the above.
And I went to the funeral of one of our babies right before, the day before, we said, we're planning this. And even though she passed away at 2 years old, as Jessica said, that mom has memories that she would not have had if not for the services of Medicaid to keep her alive. Right here, this is Gabriel, and because his family makes too much money, they didn't qualify. But thank God they had the residential options waiver, which Medicaid provided. And because of that, because their private insurance does not pay for his ventilator. That's a ventilator that gives him breath, and he needs it to live. So the private insurance does not cover that. But because that he has a waiver that gives him Medicaid, he can live and have his ventilator.
Pretty amazing. She was born weighing 1 pound 11 ounces.
26 weeks.
At 26 weeks. Say hi. Okay. So anyhow, Charlie has a Medicaid waiver. We have private insurance, but she has a G-tube and she requires OT, PT, speech, and feeding therapy. And the co-pays are astronomical. Without the Medicaid waiver, we wouldn't be able to afford her services. I'd actually worry about how I'd afford her formula that she eats. I wouldn't be able to feed her. So these Medicaid waivers are crucial. And Charlie is doing wonderful. She has a very good chance.
I really miss my friend.
She has a very good chance at an independent adulthood. Without these services, I worry if that'll even be possible.
So we've been here since approximately 11:45, and now it's 1:30, and they still haven't opened the doors. As soon as they saw us coming, they locked the doors, and according to the people who were out there, they were sitting inside talking and laughing. A dude came up on the sidewalk, was walking by, screamed Medicaid's failure. Fun times, interesting times. CNN and other news companies are getting all of this though, so I mean, word will get out. We were back on the bus from protesting, and it was interesting. The security guard actually came out and told us that if we didn't go on the other side of the street, we'd get arrested, and there were people actually on the steps. I don't know. It is 8:50 at night, and Monday, the big day, is complete. We were going to have a meeting with Bill Cassidy at 9 tomorrow, but then...
Yeah, I mean, Senator Cassidy, unfortunately, it's on the short notice. Once again, I mean, it's not a matter of not wanting to. Just with the schedule. So I mean, Senator Cassidy's made it clear that he wants to make sure that you maintain coverage, maintain protections for those with existing conditions. So I mean, that's what Senator Cassidy is committed, or that's what he's been looking for.
What about Medicaid cuts and Medicaid caps?
And then, I mean, I'm not the person to get into the politics, or not the politics, the finite policy of it. But you know, of course, appreciate you guys, you know, expressing your voices and making yourselves heard. And I totally understand the effort that you guys put through. You care a lot about this issue, and Senator Cassidy cares about this issue a lot as well.
To see more 35 people, honestly.
went through this hard journey and traveled almost 24 hours to see it.
You know, I haven't spoken with him.
Can you just we would appreciate if you would at least know that we're here.
I mean, so I mean,
25 hours,
yeah,
sir.
So, and I understand. And really, the problem is just the short notice with the schedule. But I do have to go. I appreciate you guys talking.
He is in a meeting right now, so he's unfortunately unavailable. Sure. Well, he's pretty booked up for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, would you mind waiting outside?
Yeah.
Because
We can't
we
have
have a
large
lot of
groups.
people coming in and out, so if you don't mind just waiting in the hall, that'd be great.
Nice talking to you.
I am back at home, and it seems as if they have given up on repealing and replacing Medicaid. After we returned from D.C., U.S. legislators tried to pass another healthcare plan after the first failed, and then when that didn't come to fruition, they tried to just repeal Medicare without a replacement plan in place. This too failed to pass. Now, let's backtrack a little bit. When we boarded the bus, Trach Mamas of Louisiana, the organization that organized the entirety of the trip, they had raised $7,000 out of the $30,000 that they needed. The trip went on even though the nonprofit was in debt. On the way back, we received a call from CNN. They said that a mystery donor had seen our segment, was touched, and wanted to help. That mystery donor ended up being none other than Rod Stewart, the famous rock icon. He donated enough money to cover the remaining costs of the trip. When I heard about this, my first response was, "That's awesome, so everything's covered." And once my mom said yes, I went, "So who exactly is Rod Stewart?" She responded by informing me that she had failed as a mother. Anyway, as a group, we are continuing to advocate. It's something that we won't ever be able to stop doing if we want our voices heard. Yes, it can be exhausting, but in the end, it's completely and utterly worth it. In conclusion, I want people to know that advocacy isn't just posting posts on Facebook. It's staying informed. It's contacting and communicating your needs to your legislators, whether that's through phone call, email, snail mail, or face-to-face. They need to hear from their constituents. They were voted in by us anyway. This brings me to my next point. Vote if you can, and when you do, be informed about who you're voting for. Stand up for what you believe in, but remember that earning respect comes from being articulate and respectful. Be a voice. Speak up for yourself and for others who are unable to speak for themselves. Be the change. Until next time. Bye. And then, speaking of CNN people, that night, while everyone was going to sleep, there was a camera dude, and he was getting a shot of a lady sleeping, and I just started wondering, like, has anyone ever woken up while he did that? My mom said I couldn't ask them that, though, so...